Hello and welcome to the Test Community Network. My name is Burnett. I hope you're safe and well. We've got a really interesting session for you today. I got through the post. I've been tracking for a while, kind of ideas of tools that you can plug and play in and use with vibe coding for cheating within examinations as a kind of experiment, not because I want to do that, but to help inform the community as to what's going on. And I took possession of a £7 mini webcam that I was able to plug in straight away. It was talking immediately with a vibe coded app that I created. You can create for free with Lovable. And I was able to then cheat my way through a GCSE practice test, answering the questions and getting the audio in my headset. Now, a little bit Heath Robinson in terms of the way it kind of works and set up, but it's not too hard to imagine just how this kind of tech could soon be cheating its way and assisting cheats within the examinations. And in the interview I have with Lee Fawcett today, it kind of illustrates the fact that this stuff isn't new. What is new in a way is just this idea of this barrier to vibe coding and the barrier to having code plugging them together. So we're going to have a great conversation with Lee, and I'm going to share that in a second. And really, in a way, what this is kind of leading up to is we've got the COTS Conference in Test Security, which is going to take place in Cambridge later on this year. And why I'm quite excited about this is the fact that it's going to be here in the UK. It's been an American conference. It's gone all around America, but it's coming to the UK for the first time, which for people like myself who don't normally go over to America, maybe go once a year, or maybe not for the next 4 years, it's a great opportunity to get together with test security professionals, and really I think for our community here in the UK to open your eyes up to the issues of test security and some of the potential. So if you haven't seen it already, go to conferenceontestsecurity.org. It's going to be in Cambridge 3rd to the 5th of November. Please do check that out. If you want to submit a presentation, then I think it's the 16th. Got until next week to submit for that. So well worth doing that. Anyway, I'm going to jump straight into this session. It's going to be me and Lee in conversation. I'm going to demo the app and then we're going to have a conversation afterwards. So here's me and Lee looking at this webcam design. Here we go. Lee, welcome. Thank you for joining me. Are you well?
Yes, I'm well. And you, Tim?
I am very well, very well. We're going to talk about security cameras and cheating apps and things like that. But for that, people who don't know you, because you've lived in the shadows, really, haven't you? In the space, you work amongst the kind of the darkness of the cheating world. Do you want to tell people a bit more about yourself and what you do?
Yeah, we're the people that you don't want to have to call. So we're counter fraud and investigation specialists, and we support the UK qualification assessment industry. Primarily, we're normally embedded with malpractice teams, or we're called on an ad hoc basis when you have a problem. And it's normally when you have an issue that's sort of outside your sanction scope. And if that's the case, then we might be able to help you get to whatever position you want to get to. So that's what we do. We investigate malpractice, and it's a really interesting job. Yeah, we try to stay in the shadows. In fact, if you look at our website, we don't talk about anything that we do or our cases or our results, because we keep that confidential for our clients.
Yeah, no, I understand that. And we did actually talk about before this. I had this idea that we bring you in as one of those kind of shadowy guests, like the CIA kind of thing. But I think that's probably going a little bit too far.
Let's hold a piece of black card over here.
Yeah, I'll do that exactly. Yeah. So the reason why we've spoken on multiple occasions, haven't we? We've talked about test security, cheating habits. You kind of live in the hardware space a bit more in part of your investigations. I kind of obviously been doing a lot with vibe coding and seeing how people can create things. And I think for me, what I've been looking for is just that bridge between the vibe coding space and the ability to create quite sophisticated cheating apps very quickly and through natural language and code and without code, and the technology, the hardware side of things. And I've been constantly scanning Amazon, basically looking for kind of cheap and easy places to get these things. Now, I mentioned here, I purchased one of these webcams the other day. So this is it was £7.36, I think it was, delivered next day, USB webcam, and it's almost like the basic components of a webcam, but because it's been delivered in such a way or shared in such a way, it makes it easy to kind of conceal in places. Now, I've team this up with a vibe coding app that I created with Lovable. And I've gone through a process of cheating on a practice test for GCSE, 10 questions on an algebra maths test. And I'm going to show the clip now, and then we'll have a chat through and talk about the kind of reactions and the impact this has. So here's my video just explaining that. Okay, so what I've done here is I've set up this little camera on USB, and it's just taped on roughly onto the corner of my desktop, and there you go. You've got on the screen, you've got the exam itself, so it's going to be looking at the exam as we take it from here, and that's just the USB going off into my laptop. Excuse the messy wires on here. Look at our setup; it's ridiculous. Yeah, it's a bit of a mess, but yeah, fascinating. I can just stick that on, angle it correctly, and I'm on there. Okay, so we're going to try this out now in an exam, a little test, BBC bite-sized maths test for GCSE. So here's my app that I created in Lovable. Very simply created. Create me an app that has access to the webcam. If it sees a question on screen, then send that off to AI, process and give me the answer back as to what the question is. Give me an audio. Take a screen capture every 10 seconds and send it through. Beep when it's taken a screen capture, so I know when it's taken it. Now I'm listening to the audio. Hopefully you can hear it as well in the recording. I'm going to start the webcam view. And there we go. So you can see the webcam views.
Select one of the following options to answer 10 questions on that topic.
You can see the webcam view from my keyboard looking upwards. It's upside down, but I'm going to go into algebra and see how we get on. So we got our first question.
Select one of the following options to answer 10 questions on that topic.
Okay, let's see if it does this. Question 1.
X equals 7.
X equals 7 is telling me the correct answer. Got the first one correct.
A journey of 8 miles costs £12.
Journey of 8 miles costs £12. There we go. Next one correct. 2 out of 10.
Add the 2 equations.
Add the 2 equations. Correct.
X equals 2.
X equals 2. Now bear in mind I've got very little knowledge of algebra anymore. It's not too bad.
7 and 2.
So it says 7 and 2, and when I tried this before, there we go. So it kind of forgets that there's a minus in there. So I think there's a bit of weakness in the prompt that's going off.
Y equals x squared plus 2.
Y equals x squared plus 2. Now there isn't a y equals x squared plus 2 there. So let me just see if it runs that again and comes up with something different.
Y equals x squared minus 2.
X squared minus 2. There we go. Thankfully. Now, when I've tested this one has been quite a tough one for it to process, which is interesting.
Equals v squared minus u squared, 2's.
So I'm going to go D, based on that now. Yeah, that's the problem with my interpretation of that equation.
The provided solution shows the steps to solve for from the equation v squared equals u squared plus 2 as. The final answer for A is equals v squared minus u squared, 2s.
So
x squared plus x6.
X squared plus x6. So that one there. There we go.
X squared plus x6.
Let's see how we do on this one.
Y equals 1/2 x plus 2.
Y equals 1/2 x plus 2. Incorrect.
Length equals 5 centimeters, width equals 2 centimeters.
There we go. 8 out of 10. Not bad. Not bad at all. Not bad. So if you take an examination, obviously you won't get 100%, but then that would be an alarming point, isn't it? If you're a failing candidate and you're suddenly getting 100%, then 8 out of 10 for an examination isn't too bad. And if this was just assisting you in that process, so you were able to answer most of the questions, but it's just the ones you got stuck on, then it'd be kind of interesting. So quite a scary little £7 purchase there. Excellent. Okay, so that was my little demonstration there. So as someone who's seen the world and seen everything, what's your kind of immediate reaction there? Is it something you're kind of familiar with? Do you think it's taken a step? What would be your kind of instant reaction to that?
In our world, we haven't yet seen the use of AI in order for malpractice going on around the criminal entities. I think it's only a matter of time. Am I surprised you can do that? No. Not at all, because I've built something similar myself. So and it works really well. And I think, if anything, we've probably over-engineered it, because the reality is I'd expect to see people using the camera type method to exfil the questions out, but then perhaps just have someone in the other room to assist them. And that's more likely to happen at an individual wanting to cheat, that they're going to have someone they know or a service that they're going to procure to get those answers. But I don't think it's going to be long term at all before someone commercializes this and they actually start to sell a product. Perhaps it will be in a Coke can or a coffee mug or whatever, and you'll be able to sit it on your desk and it will effectively feed you the answers. So you'll have a camera looking at the screen, feeding into an AI module, and then you'll probably have a hidden earpiece via an induction loop in order to give the answers in real time.
I agree in terms of it's when with the individual components and the technology and things like that. I think none of this really is new in a way. There are some very basic methods. I think my view is that to go to a commercial cheating organization is typically going to be an organization that's operating in the kind of underworld space. And for me, I would be very nervous personally about going to that, because there's this risk of blackmail that goes with that. And then the second part is working with someone else to collude in a test, a mate or something like that. And I'm going to become a doctor. There's always that risk that that relationship turns sour and they use it as a blackmail opportunity. And why I think this is quite scary is the fact that as an individual, without too much technical expertise, I could create something and have a unit and talk. And we talked about some of the units and technology that's available. Some of it's quite expensive, and some people are just not going to be able to afford that. But like you say, it's not going to be long before there's a Coke can on sale on Amazon that has the AI induction loop and camera all kind of wrapped up into one unit. Well, that's the concerning.
Well, what I will say, Tim, is that I have evidence of thousands of people that have gone to a third party to help them with assisted tests. So whilst you and I may not do that, there are thousands that will. And that's thousands in the case of millions. But we only deal with a few sectors and a few awarding bodies. I dare say it's widespread.
Yeah, which is concerning, isn't it? And I know what you mean. There are people with these businesses out there. They're obviously making money. They're obviously generating a profit. So people are going to them. I think, to me, one of the biggest.
I think it depends on where you are in the world as well. So in some countries, it's not illegal to cheat. In fact, there's commercial entities running. Again, if you're an awarding body that's working abroad in some of those jurisdictions, you can have a much bigger problem than you've got in the UK or in Australia. If you're out in India or Turkey, perhaps, it's a whole different ballgame.
I think for me, one of the things, so online proctoring is obviously a technology leap that we took on after COVID. Lots of organizations adopt it. Some have rolled back. We've seen some high profile cases with ACCA and organizations like that. But others are pursuing that. People, I suppose, market the fact that they've effectively solved it with cameras and second cameras and technology. How do you see online proctoring as a means of delivery holding up against these kind of methods? Do you think they still are viable, or do you think they have got problems?
So they've definitely got problems.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not in control of the environment, then you can't guarantee the security of the test. It's as simple as that. However, if you've got high demand and you need that high volume and it's a low risk test, then perhaps it is absolutely the right way to deliver. So I think it all comes down to the risk that the assessment itself represents.
Yeah.
But no, if I'm yet to see a platform that can detect all the assets I've got in my little sandpit.
Yeah.
And I actually work with anybody to come and test in my sandpit as well. And we have invited a few edtech companies, and there's only been a couple that have entertained us.
Yeah, I think we've spoken separately, haven't we? I think it's quite an impressive range of kit that you've got access to for that. What would you advise in a water body or university, that's kind of looking at this seriously as an issue for them? What would you say they should do first? What's their first thing they should do, after watching something like this or another kind of highlight video?
Yeah, I think the first thing you have to do is look at the threat that's against the particular assessment. So for something like, let's say, the driver theory test, and the end goal for that is a license. What does that license represent? Well, in the UK, it's effectively a de facto ID document, but it can also be used to open up companies, open up bank accounts, get access to benefits, all sorts of things. So what does it represent? It's not just about the test, it's about the end product, and the driving license is quite an extreme example. But in any case, it's look at the threat against that particular assessment and what the value of that, the end goal from that assessment is. And once you've done that threat assessment, you then need to look seriously as to, okay, so what level of security, those layers that we need to put in place, and how expensive does the security element need to be? So it all starts with assessing the test, but you need to think of it not as a exam owner. You need to think of it as a criminal. You need to think of it as the other side of the fence. And I think that's the difficulty that a lot of organizations have. They're very comfortable. They feel very comfortable about their environment, about the way they deliver, about assessment. But you need to, a colleague of mine will call it red teaming. You need to red team this. So you need to take yourself out of the comfort zone and actually have someone come and attack it. And you can do that with an internal team. We've worked with teams before where we go in and we are the agent provocateur, and we say, what if this and what if that? And it really quickly turns into a very different meeting, because they know all the vulnerabilities, they understand their product, and straight away they go, oh yeah, actually, that's an issue and that's an issue. But you have to take that time to look at it from a different perspective. And it's a very difficult thing. It's a very challenging thing to do. But if you do that, then it'll probably be very helpful. So that's the first thing I would suggest. You've got to look not at the delivery part, not the security part. You've got to go all the way back and go, what is the value of this? And what does it represent? And then work from there. And you might find, yes, I can do remote proctoring because we're comfortable with that. Or you might be, we can't do remote proctoring at all.
Yeah.
Or we must be in a secure environment. We can't let people test at home, all sorts of things. But you've got to start with the threat first. But you've got to think like a criminal, which is not an easy thing to do.
I must admit, that's why when we talk about cheating gangs and stuff like that, that's where I struggle with it, because I am not a criminal. I am not out there to cheat. And I did one proctored exam myself, an online proctored exam for the CIM, and I was paranoid about anything kind of could be seen as being cheating. As it was, there was very little checks. I don't think you even had to do a room scan for it, but I was absolutely paranoid about it. So, but that's me in my kind of attitude. Well, thank you very much. I think we've got one conference, haven't we, that's coming to the UK that we want to very quickly talk about. That's the conference on test security, which for people who don't know, it is a conference that takes place in America normally. It is a hybrid conference. They have been doing it. They've been remote presentations you can join, but it's coming to Cambridge in November. if you've got a case study or presentation that you want to make, then you've got about a week to get that in. But I'm sure you're looking to get something there. We're going to talk about submissions, aren't we? But I really think it's a great opportunity for members of the community to come and see some of the international security threats being discussed. It's quite a niche conference. I won't say there's going to be thousands of people there, but
yeah, I've never actually been. So this is someone recommended it to us, actually, a fact. And yourself, you recommend it. So we're really keen to attend. In fact, we're hoping to present.
Yeah, excellent. Well, I hope you do, because I think you've got a fascinating story to tell. So thank you very much, Lee. Much appreciated. And I look forward to catching up with you soon. Thank you.
Cheers.
Excellent. Thank you for that, Lee. Thank you very much. I think, obviously Lee's seen a lot of stuff, so he wouldn't necessarily be earth shocked by that. But I think people will be. I think people realize, just how, easy this kit is to. I've actually put it away, but to buy. And this is, yes, it's. Someone could look at it and say, well, a room scanner easily pick that up and all those kind of things. Yeah, it would. But you start combining that with other tech that's out there to hide away, and even, just having something in the background. If it's got a good enough camera on there, it could actually, see the screen and be relaying information. It doesn't need to be on the desk space at all. It could be in the background. So unless we're going to start putting candidates in sterilized rooms, then you got to kind of ask the question: is some of the ways in which we're delivering tests are viable going forward? If you're delivering a test in 100 test centers, that's 100 test centers you've got to manage. You've got 12,000 candidates taking online proctored examinations. That's effectively 12,000 test centers. So yeah, big considerations to make. So thank you very much, Lee. Thank you for watching. I hope you found that interesting, if not a little bit unnerving. And if you want to get more information, you want to maybe discuss with either Lee or myself ideas or worries or concerns you've got about test security, then please do reach out and we can put you in touch with people who are far more expert in the matter than me. There is organisations like the ATP. They have a test security group within there. There's going to be plenty of conversation about it at the upcoming Assessment Association conference as well. So please do check that out. Thank you very much. You take care, and I will see you soon.